Now, Rush Limbaugh, of course, not happy about 6 cops in Baltimore being charged in the death of Freddie Gray. He thinks the prosecutor is at fault and that she is just like the people in the crowd. Now, that's literally what he said. We're going to get to that in a second. Okay, first, he's going to set this up with what he believes is the theory behind the protesters in Baltimore. Let's watch.
This whole thing is what's predicated on race, is it not? It's all predicated on racist cops who are unfair to poor, black, disadvantaged citizens in Baltimore, can't defend themselves, who don't have the money to afford anything, much less legal representation. They're just bullies, right? They're just out-of-control cops. No justice, no peace.
Yeah. No, that's not what it's predicated on. So I know you don't do nuance because you're an idiot, Rush. So let me try to break it down for you. So first of all, yes, oftentimes it is African-American cops who wind up doing the abuse. It's the culture of the policing that's an issue. For example, they're taught to shoot way too quick. Never, ever, ever take any risk with your life. Go in guns blazing. That's why Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old, was killed in 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds, in Cleveland. Now, in this case, you rough up the guys that you caught. What do? In this case, it turns out he might not have done anything illegal, Freddie Gray in Baltimore, right? He has a knife, and the prosecutors say that it is the kind of knife that he had was not illegal. So, but it doesn't matter. He looked at the cops the wrong way. And that's another part of the culture of police officers, unfortunately, in this country, which is the biggest crime in America is to disrespect a police officer. The third problem is that often the cops don't come from the community, come from outside the community, no matter what their race is. And since they have a lot of power, they unfortunately wind up preying on the powerless. They're supposed to help the powerless, but oftentimes they do the opposite. So those communities are incredibly frustrated. They're frustrated when white cops do it, and they're certainly still frustrated when black cops do it. Now, in this case, it was a mix. We had 3 white cops and 3 black cops that were charged. Rush can't wait to point that out. Go ahead, Rush. Have fun. Go ahead.
To me, the biggest problem for her and for the prosecution of this is that 3 of these cops are black, which to me undercuts the entire premise of the prosecution. And I don't know how she's going to get around that.
No, it undercuts your premise. See, she doesn't care about white or black, unlike you. She says, look, these guys shouldn't have erupted Freddie Gray. They shouldn't have put him in there with no seatbelt and in shackles, etc. What they did was, at the least, negligence that led to his homicide. So I'm going to try them, and I don't care what their race is. Her charges are not, I charge them with racism. I charge them with being white. No. You only see things through the prism of race. She charged the cops because they did something wrong. It led to the death of an innocent man. That's why she charged them. But he can't get that through his head. Now, it's going to get really apparent in the next clip.
There are 6 cops that she's charged here, and she had to include a murder charge in order to keep that crowd at bay. Maybe she wanted to include a murder charge in it because she's no different than the crowd, and I think that's really the case. I don't think she's any different than that crowd standing looking at her. This protest bunch demanding justice, no peace. I think she's one of those people that's ended up as a prosecutor.
Marilyn Mosby, the prosecutor, looks just like the crowd. Oh, she does, yeah. She's just like that crowd. Gee, I wonder what he means. Does he mean that her entire family is filled with cops? Mother, father, grandfather? No, he doesn't mean that. Does he mean that she's accomplished and that the rest of the protesters are also accomplished lawyers? No, he doesn't mean that. Does he dress like the protesters? No, he doesn't mean that. I wonder what he means. Of course, he's saying, oh, she's black, just like them. She just happened to become a prosecutor. That's how things happen, right? You're walking around the streets of Baltimore, and all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, you want to be a prosecutor? Sure, yeah, come on up. No, she's an accomplished person, and she's doing her job, and she doesn't care whether the defendants are white or black. But Rush cannot see through race, so he can't wrap his mind around that. When he sees Marilyn Mosby, he doesn't see a prosecutor looking for justice. He sees a black person, and he thinks, how the hell did she get up there? She's not allowed to be part of the authorities. We run things. She looks like the same people to me that's in the crowd, the people I'm against, the people who are black. Keep it real. And you know, this story actually had me go past the tipping point here. You know why? As I look at this story, I realize, Rush isn't trying to avoid sounding racist. Like, that's what had been my assumption all along. He's racist, but he's trying hard not to sound like a racist. I realized after this story, no, he's not trying hard at all. He's basically doing just enough where he tells his audience, no, I'm on your side, man. We know who they are, okay? It doesn't matter what they accomplish in their lives at all. It doesn't matter what their background is, what their education is. It doesn't matter if they're supposed to be part of the good guys. We don't care. We know who they are. He's not trying to hide it. That's been my mistake all throughout. He's actually telling his audience, it's not a dog whistle, it's a whistle humans can hear, right? Hey, I'm white, you're white, we're the good guys, the black guys are the bad guys, and obviously she's a bad guy even though she's a prosecutor because he's black. It's not that complicated. World is full of bad guys, man.